It's a time for... which one shall I open? Oh, it's like my birthday with a package from China. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video, we are going to take a close look at Powkiddy. But this is the model A20. So Powkiddy is a brand that sells a lot of different handhelds nowadays. And I must say, like, they are getting like one of those bigger companies that make so many freaking handhelds that you almost cannot keep up as, let's say, a reviewer of these products. Of course, I can make the choice saying, yeah, I'm not going to review everything. But basically, I want to. I just want to see, or basically I want to try every single handheld and find the best ones for you. So inside the package we're just going to get the same stuff, a cable and basic paper manual. Nothing really fancy, but this time we're going to get ourselves a very nice Type-C cable, a long one. Yeah, sometimes you're going to give like these very short, cheap ones, and a manual that explains how the system works. It comes in multiple languages. I think it's mostly like in... Then English, yeah, English is the only language that they're using. But I would say, like, give it a quick look, because they were going to explain also like how everything works, especially when it comes to some troubleshooting. But let's take a close look with the handheld itself, because I'm really curious about this bad boy, because it looks very familiar to the Retroid Pocket I've reviewed a very long time ago. Okay, so first thing that we need to do, of course, is removing the screen protector. I'm always leaving the plastics on, don't know why I basically do that. But the layout itself, it's like your typical device of a Retroid we have seen before. Now we're going to get an actually normal D-pad, then we're going to get an analog stick and 6-button layout. I'm a big fan of those, but it's more like a personal thing. At the back we're going to get 2 shoulder buttons, and they are very well placed, because when you're holding it you can press them fairly easy. Because with some of these devices we do get like let's say an extra row of like say extra shoulder buttons. Personally not a big fan of those, but how is it with the quality and the buttons? So when you're looking at the controls, there we're going to get some minor differences when you look at your typical handhelds. So let's begin with the D-pad. So the D-pad, it's like a very strange one, because this is like the clickies D-pad, and that's because there are like 4 micro switches beneath. I'm not a big fan of it. I just want to have the old school membrane in combination with some long travel. Then we're going to get ourselves the analog sticks, not the same like the Nintendo Switch, because it doesn't have the click function, but you can see over here it do have some similarities. Then we're going to get the 6-button layout over here, and again same story, we do have like micro switches beneath, and here we're going to get the select, start and the home button. Okay, one thing I'm personally not a big fan of is like this rubber coating. Now it looks all fancy and like it is just fine. Like if you have like sweaty hands, it will give you some extra grip, but over time I know for sure this thing is going to get sticky, so you're going to get yourself a sticky Powkiddy. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of those. You just need to stop doing that. Volume control at the side, the on and off switch is over here, but here we do have like some extra outputs, and the outputs, for example, we're going to get a jack out, the reset button over here, and then we're going to get, it seems to be like a mini HDMI, and so we're going to try out if we're going to have some HDMI functionalities. At the front of the device we're going to get like a glossy finish front screen. I'm not a big fan of those things. But okay, yeah, that's something we just need to live with. But when you're holding it in front of you, you don't have like this glare. But what you're going to get with the display itself, there we're going to get a very interesting thing. So it's only a 3.5 inch display. It is an IPS panel, and it comes with a resolution of 640 by 480. So when it comes to a lot of retro games, it's going to be a very nice resolution. And with the IPS panel, it looks amazing, what you can see over here. I really love it. And again, what I don't like is the front panel, because it will give you like a glossy. And here you can see like I do have some problems with recording, but also when you're looking at it. But when you're holding it in front of you, it looks amazing. But again, it looks quite nice when it comes to the display itself. Okay, so let's talk about the CPU. The CPU itself is an S905 D3. It's a quad-core A55 CPU, but the GPU is a dual-core Mali G31 MP2. Then we're going to get the RAM, that's LPDDR4, 2GB, and of course already mentioned the screen is in 3.5 inches, 640 by 480 IPS. You can basically have a ZF card that you can expand the internal memory up to 256GB. So when it comes to the specifications, it's okay. It's more like your typical handheld that you can pick up nowadays. But let's take a close look at the menu itself. So the menu itself is similar to the Pandora's box. For the people who don't know, Pandora's box basically like this layout I've seen before. Here we're going to get the search option. We can play, types, and then we're going to get all list, and all list is like a freaking chunk of list. Pretty damn awful if you ask me. Pressing L and R, you can switch to a different, let's say, platform. And here you can see like we do have a lot of different platforms that we can choose from. So first of all, we're going to get Neo Geo, then we're going to get a lot of MAME stuff. You can see like they basically made a little bit of a mess, because we're having a MAME list, we go to FBA list, we're going to get the CPS list, and an Neo Geo list. So in my opinion, a little bit of a bummer that they made such a big mess of it. We're going to have the option for PlayStation support. N64. It does have the option to play some Dreamcast, PlayStation Portable. Take consideration like PlayStation Portable is quite heavy, so it will not run perfectly on a device like this, I can already tell you, so spoiler alert. But yeah, if you want to play some old school games, think about 8-bit, 16-bit and Pocket. I think it's pretty damn cool, but let's take a close look at some gameplay. But the downside to the menu itself, which you can see like the letters are quite small, and I think that the resolution, in my opinion, they should use like a smaller, bigger resolution, so reading the text is going to be, let's say, more comfortable to do. Alright, so let's start with N64, and I must say what I'm noticing with the device itself is like the speaker that comes here at the corner, I don't like it at all. It goes quite loud, but it's going to sound pretty damn awful. So there's a little bit of a bummer that they made such a cool device when it looks at the form factor, but don't like bother to add an extra speaker to give more like a better stereo sound. When you're listening also to the audio itself of the N64 game, you can really hear like it struggles. I think that will always be the case with these cheap devices, or it's not a super cheap device, but it's a cheaper device, not normal. We do have a mixed performance when it comes to N64. Of course, this is just a launch title that runs just okay on it. So when going back to the main menu, we do have some options that we can mess around with. So let's take a close look at the quick menu over here. So there we're going to get the game settings. Funny thing is like we can even have the game speed disabled, enabled, so kind of weird way. So I will give you a quick example like how that will look in the end. Let's go back. I don't have any idea of how much effect it will have on the game itself. At this moment, I don't have the idea that it's going to be struggling that much anymore. But then we're going to get these weird, let's say, weird settings that we can basically do. For example, we do have the quick load, quick save is not a weird setting, but it's quite a convenient one. But there we're going to get the enable, disable of the game speed, cheats, IO testing, and some other stuff that we can do here. So it's quite interesting, say, configuration way, but here like network hosting is even possible, as they're saying. So if you're having Wi-Fi, I'm guessing you can basically like connect it with another device. That can be maybe tested out in a different video. Let's see if the buttons have been mapped. It's always like the case with these freaking things, like where are the buttons? Oh, there they are. Oh, you can hear it like it struggles. It can be a problem with the optimization of the emulator in combination with the hardware, because the hardware is capable of running a lot of N64 stuff, especially like the launch stuff. But overall performance, it's okay. Okay guys, so next up I wanted to try some PlayStation 1, and I think like we've reached the point that PlayStation 1 runs just fine on a device like this. Take consideration these are not like highly upscaled to 2 times, stuff like that. Mostly it runs also like an old emulator at the back end. Beside the emulator is like, the performance is quite good, even on Naval Revolution, and they look amazing. Both analog stick and the D-pad can be used in this, so it's quite interesting. Oh man, it's almost like, where are my buttons? Oh, there we are. Oh crap. But the overall performance is very good, so that is not a problem. So if you want to play some PlayStation 1, it's pretty damn cool to play it on it. Something I need to get used to are like the micro switch buttons here, but beside that, it runs very nice. Okay, so let's deep dive into the more demanding stuff. PlayStation Portable. Of course, we're going to try out a God of War game just to see how it will run. The emulation performance is not super bad, like they will use frame skip or something like that, but you can see like it struggles. Another thing I find quite interesting is like when you're pressing the menu button over here, we do go get into game settings, we can put the game speed on enabled. Let's go all the way back. Alright, let's play the same part again. With a different setting. So there are some possibilities to tweak some games. And yeah, when it also comes to the button mapping, it's just the same stuff that we've seen before. It's just you really need to get used to which button this has been set to where. But so far I know there was no way getting into the freaking menu itself or the PPSSPP that I was running on the back end. So that's a little bit of a bummer if you ask me. Alright, so next up I wanted to try a Sega Dreamcast game. And the reason why, because this is a system that was more like a hit and miss. But I've noticed that the performance and overall is not bad at all. Let's lower the volume. It's a really fun game to play, by the way, and it seems to be running just fine. And again, I need to find my buttons. Oh, there they are. But didn't notice any of those like weird slowdowns whatsoever, so I don't need to do messing around with the system settings, or the only thing that we can adjust, or the game speed. Have you ever seen in your life like freaking zombies with a machine gun? I didn't. Or better said, now I did. Antidote. But that's when it comes to the Sega Dreamcast. It runs very well, I think, on a device like this. Okay, so next up let's play some old school stuff, and it runs just fine on a system like this. You know, like, we have reached the point, like, if it can play PlayStation 1, it runs all the other systems just fine. And I think it's pretty damn cool. Okay, so let's play some wicked games. And there are so many cool things you can find on MAME. Stuff that is so old, but so much fun to play. Okay, so let's see if I can play this game with an analog stick. I'm not a big fan of it. So, and again, like the D-pad, I really need to get used to this. Because the D-pad is so weird with the clicky touch. Some people will love it, some people will just hate it. And I'm one of those guys that can't get used to it. And I keep dying in this game. Okay, so one of the awesome additions to this handheld is the TV out option. And TV out option seems to be working plug and play. You don't need to do any configuration whatsoever. So let's play a quick game. Okay, so the TV out function works very nice, and I think it's a pretty damn cool basically way to play. Another thing you need to take consideration, there is no USB port whatsoever. So what you need to do is, like, through the Bluetooth connectivity, we can hook up a controller. I will show you later on what I mean with the menu itself. So basically you can use this thing like a game system that you can bring with you, connect on your television through HDMI, and then have a lot of fun with some beefcake and dinosaurs on the on-go, basically on the portable device control self, or you're just going to get yourself and control it. So for the gameplay, it's pretty cool to have a feature like this, something that is not very common with these handhelds. Okay, so what we need to do, we're getting into the settings, pressing the home button or hold it for a couple of seconds, and we'll bring you from the main menu into the settings over here. So what you can do over here, we're having the handheld settings, we have Wi-Fi connectivity. Here we're going to connect some Bluetooth devices, for example a controller. So there we do have like another option, we can adjust the brightness if you want to. Stuff like that, you need to be adjusting it over here. We have entered the game market. They can see like it doesn't do anything, but I'm not a big fan of those. Even if you're going to get the option to get into the store, we have a lot of problems. When pressing basically the Android, enter the Android mode, here we can go into the Android mode and you can browse through the files. There is other stuff you can basically do with this. We can check into the, let's say, the device itself. For example, here having the system specifications and basically what you're going to get. There's not a lot of stuff you can do in, and again, there's nothing much you can do over here. But it's cool that you can mess around with it. I won't do that too much in my opinion, because the layout they're using over here is pretty damn cool. And here you can even update it. If you put it online, there is maybe the updates you can do for the Android device itself. But mainly I think this device is pretty damn awesome as like a game system with the preloaded Pandora lookalike menu. Okay, so the final conclusion regarding this Powkiddy or Powkiddy the A20. So I think this device has some potential when it comes to playing some retro games. But they are like just pushing it too far. PlayStation Portable is just too much when it comes playing it on a device like this. It's a great form factor. I love the Game Boy style look-alike, but I'm like a big fan of the clickies D-pad and stuff like that. And again, like I'm a D-pad guy, so I wish you like to have the D-pad over here with the normal membrane D-pad. We have seen it before with the Retro Pocket, so in my opinion this is not something really exciting new. The layout itself, I do like the Pandora's box style layout. It looks very nice. It's very easy to navigate through. The display looks amazing. I do love the glare on the screen. It's quite annoying, not only for recording but also watching at it. But yeah, let me know in the comments, did you ever like consider buying it? Did you buy it? Like, let me know in the comments. But thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become a Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.
you.